This broadcast from IOF TV is brought to you by T-Cartor and Lumonite.
Hello and welcome back to the second round of the Orienteering World Cup on this beautiful Italian coastline, where we'll have our first sprint relay of the season. It's going to be a fun race with lots of teams on the start line. We have got 63 teams lining up, and they're going to be taking on the course that you will see on this beautiful terrain in front of us. We've got a little slope section. We've got this park section here and the promenade alongside the coastline as well. And it's going to be a set of fast and furious head-to-head racing, as we love to see on the sprint relays. You can see there's quite busy in this park, but it's pretty good conditions for sprinting. And Jonas, of course, we've got lots of teams lining up, which means we need to maybe be looking a bit beyond our usual favourites, possibly for those to be up in certainly the kind of the top six.
Do we? No. Yeah, of course. I mean, the usual favorites are going to be the favorites today as well. Sweden and Switzerland, they historically been the teams winning these relays. Not very often we have seen other teams winning the sprint relays. But today I think Norway has quite a strong team as well. Finland, kind of the newest sprinter nation when it comes to orienteering. Czech Republic or Czechia is quite a good team. And then, of course, today in a World Cup, we also have the second and third teams. And especially if I look at the second team from Sweden, I think they're going to be, or they have the potential to be very strong today as well.
How hard is it for the team leaders to make their selections?
Well, it depends on the team. I think that the Swiss team. Before they had the first and the second World Cup round, because Tino Polsini, in my opinion, would definitely deserve one of the spots in the team. Now we have Ricardo Rancan there. I think they decided it on beforehand. Don't know if it's smart in a world championship, like when the world champs are sprint championships, to do it like that. But yeah, of course, Swedish team. I mean, you could select between the first and the second team, especially when I look at the men there, you could select with the dice. I mean, they have so many good runners.
Very close. Yeah, absolutely. But we're starting and finishing in the park, as you see in the pictures here. But why don't you talk us through the map itself?
Yeah, and as you can see, we have 4 different first controls. We start in the park here, not very difficult orienteering. Also the route choices and the different options here, 1, 2, 3, very close distance-wise. First, really interesting route. This one we see here with the forking. You can't go straight there because this promenade is kind of closed, so you have to go quite far around, but we will see that later again. 8, 9, another route, not as decisive as the one before. Then we have to run through the arena and into the second bit, a bit less of park orienteering here, more into the city center. Route choices here as well. And then an interesting one, 15, 16. They're in between. If you go a bit to the west, they have opened a garden. So if you prepared with an old map, you couldn't see that there. So they have to be quick in making a decision. Then 17, 18. Again, a route choice. This loop is only for the men because the women, they go straight from 16 to the last control. But I think we're going to focus a bit more on a few of the route choices quite soon. It is, in my opinion, a very interesting course with many different options you can choose. And also, I think they actually are a few routes where you can lose a quite big amount of time. So this is 6-7. I've been talking about that before. It on the first look, it looks as if you could go quite straight, but you have to go around to get down to this promenades. So we have the red and the blue option. The red one is actually shorter. It doesn't matter which one you have at control 6, it's a forking, so there are two different options. In both cases, this red option is a little bit shorter distance wise. So I think it's good to take this one.
Yeah, it just gives you an indication of what obviously the runnability is like. Very, very quick, and obviously kind of downhill on this section as well. But for me, if I was a runner, you almost think that 7's going to be a forks control as well, because they in the past the planners have liked to put it so there is a better and a worse route choice depending on which control you have, and taking the wrong route choice and not following it and following the wrong pack is a bad
But I mean,
decision. So I would almost expect 7 to be forked.
but you have 6 as a forking, and you have them very close to each other, so you might see the others anyway, and might be kind of a similar thought by the course planner there. Then here as well, something you have to keep in mind, those steps in the downhill, we know that from yesterday, they are not good to take. So you should really take the red one here. It's both a bit shorter, and you don't have such a steep downhill on the steps as you have if you go on the blue option. You can see it here. Now we go in the red option. Would have been interesting to see the other one. But here, of course, you can see it. The downhill on this kind of street is really, really quick. And if you have to do the downhill on the steps, it slows you down a lot. So try to avoid this here. Distance-wise, we are talking about the difference of, you see here, I've written it down. Yeah, it's not very much. It's a few meters. So I think it's hard to see which one is shorter. But if you take this, if you take the steps in mind as well, it's definitely quicker. The red option.
Yeah, so that is an indication as to exactly what the terrain is like, and as you kind of described, in two very different sections of the course. And the old map had the more coastal section and didn't have the bit on the slopes, and they've isn't any Google Street View on there as well, so they're kind of hoping people haven't been able to prepare as much for that. This is the start list. As you can see, loads of teams, but as usual, we have Sweden and Switzerland as our favourites as numbers 1 and 2. But there are a few teams who've got four teams. There are 4 Swedish teams. There's 4 teams from Finland. There's nearly 4 teams from Norway as well. So it just means there's lots and lots of people in the mix, and especially if we get some disqualifications as well, then it could be anyone's game as well. So we were kind of talking a little bit about the teams, and we can see them lining up then here. So Alva Sonnesson will lead off the Swedish team. You would have maybe expected the Swedes would have selected Hanna Lundberg on the first leg, but she had to go to the hospital and have stitches in her leg after yesterday's race. I think she's okay, but just not racing today. You can see Natalia Gempeler, her first time in the first team for Switzerland. Victoria Hestad Bjornstad been very, very consistent over the recent races. Maja Sienoja will head off the team from Finland. They are all pretty strong in there. Josephine Lind had a good knockout qualification, performance last weekend. She leads off the Danish team. fairly new name there, Barbara Matakova, leading off the Czech team. They've got Jakub Glonek, Thomas Krivda, Teresa Janashikova still to come. So a very good team who took second place in Czechia, the World Cup final last season. So watch out for them, especially on some of the later legs as well. We saw Maya Bovir starting out for the French team as well. Some consistent performances in there. And we have got Victoria Marg leading off the team for Hungary. Rita Maramorosi is on their final leg, but I wouldn't expect some of those kind of teams maybe from 8th, 9th, 10th to be in amongst the favourites. But 63 teams then lining up on the start line, ready for this sprint relay. They've got their maps in hand. They can unfurl them and head straight out into the terrain. And they run out here straight out past the start triangle. And there is a forking here on the first section. You can see Grace Malloy on the far left has gone out quite hard. Natalia Gempeler also stretching out there in the Swiss colours. We've got Norway there too. And this is quite a key part of this race is some of those bridges and tunnels here as well.
And I think the tactics for the Swiss team should be quite clear. They have by far, I mean, if you look at the results, they have so strong women. With Natalia Gempele, who won the first individual sprint, was second yesterday. Simona Abersol was second at the first individual sprint and then won yesterday. So they should really try to get away early or try to kind of split the field up early out in the competition. So I think Natalia Gempele is going to run very, very actively here in the beginning already. And especially if you compare them to Sweden, who might not have their best runner on the first. If you look at the team, she's Alva Sunesson, first time in this first team for Sweden. And for her, it's very important to keep the pace with the others, and then especially Natalia Gempele. And well, it will be interesting to follow that battle here on the first leg.
Well, as the teams go through this garden, you can really get a real indication of what it is like running this first leg in a World Cup relay, because they had the same controls 2 and 3, and it was absolute elbows out as you were entering the control and punching the control. So many runners, so many teams incredibly close together, especially in the first section where, you know, it's not too difficult, and most of them I think have taken this good route choice into, or it's not really a choice actually, but spotted the good route over towards controls 4 and 5. They're going to go up the hill towards some tennis courts, and it's everybody incredibly close together here at this point.
Yeah, and you have to keep in mind here, it's going to be in this first part, it's very open and it's easy to pass other runners, but later on there's so many teams, so if you're a bit behind on the second part, it's quite hard to overtake someone in these narrow streets, especially if you have a few corners to take and if you have to switch direction. There are forkings and everything, so if you're 20 positions behind, it's going to be quite tough to get in front again.
So they have one control on the left-hand side of the left tennis court. Then there's another control between the two tennis courts. You can see the leading runners have already punched there on their way out. I think those who've gone down and then back up, they're going to be facing those oncoming runners now, and now they're going to drop back down the hill then towards the next controls, which is a forked control, and then this big route choice that we were talking about that takes them in towards the seafront on this kind of promenade section. So those are the two controls you can see there by those tennis courts, and you can see Switzerland, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, France, a lot of the big favourites up there as well. Not sure where Sweden was in all of that mix.
And now you can see it, the route choice is waiting, so it's better to go to the right as Denmark and Sweden are doing. Not sure, seems as if Switzerland is going to the left. Left in running direction, of course. Not the best option for Sweden. They have to go through this upper passage.
So this is a French team and one of the Swedish teams, Caroline Olsen there. And now they are back on this kind of promenade. See, this is everyone who's taken I think the less good of the two routes, I think. Unless they're already on their way to, probably I think they're already on their way to the next control, aren't they? Yes, running along the front.
Not all the teams have taken the best option by going to the west. A few of them taking the lower passage, so they have to turn. And I see also a few teams, they're doing a big mistake there, running somewhere where you can't run actually. You see Hungary, they have to go back again. So it's still Natalia Gempele. Then we have Josephine Lind. Norway was there as well.
And here's the leader then. Here's Natalia Gempele. There's Denmark. Josephine Lind, as you said, and Norway. Yeah, Pia Ljungvik, not the first Norway team, second team.
Especially Finland. Interesting now to see where this first Swedish team is going to be.
Here she is. Yep.
Yep.
Sonesson there in 13th, 14 seconds down.
It's quite a lot already. It hasn't been very physical so far.
And then most of them going the same route here towards this control. I think they're reasonably even.
Yeah, they are very even. The one you have a little bit of an advantage if you go to the right because you don't have to take the steps uphill there. But otherwise, it's when it comes to the distance, it's a matter of 5-6 meters if you go to the left or right. So it doesn't matter.
Yep. So on their way for the last few controls before the arena passage. And there are different forked controls though here.
It seems still to be Natalia Gempele and then Josephine Lind. See them here.
Here they come.
Then I think it's Pia Ljungvik, isn't it?
Yes, for Norway too,
second
I think.
team. Yeah,
and then Norway first team is just behind them.
France, Swedish second team as well.
Yep.
Then I think it was Finland, yes indeed, but the fourth team.
See the teams sticking through there, and you can see they're really reading the map then, as the characteristics of the course are going to change a lot now. So we've done all this park section, this very, very quick section, and they're going to maybe have a lot more route choice options then on this second part. So we've got more teams coming through the arena there. You can see Estonia, you can see another of the Swedish teams. British and Finnish teams there as well.
There's actually a route choice as well out from the arena to the next control. I think we're gonna see it soon. The best option there is to go to the left in running direction. There's an option to go up, climb a little bit, and then take kind of the main street here through the village. But it's
yeah, there we can see.
North. The best option here is, for example, Switzerland and the second Norwegian team.
Yeah, this one's a lot shorter, and actually there maybe you can see there's a little cut through that ends just before 11, but they thought they might. I think it was they thought they might have been able to open that one, or we're looking at the possibilities of doing so.
You can see it to the northeast. You can see that there is actually a passage, but they had to close it, or they decided to close it because they got permission to use it, but there were many people closing that entrance where Great Britain was right when we switched the picture. So they decided to not to take any risks and close it for everyone.
So Natalia Gempeler, her first time running in the first team for Switzerland, having
And she's doing,
changed nations last season, and yeah, she's doing a really good job, amazing job.
yeah, she's doing exactly what she has to do. And now there's the climb coming as well, so here she can really play her physical strength. And she should do so, because as soon as she gets away a little bit from the others, it will be more and more difficult for the others to get closer again.
And that's quite a
We have
decent
them.
gap then. You can see the next team's French team. You can see Pia Youngvik maybe just dropping back a little bit on that last section. Oh, maybe mistake there from Caroline Olsen. The others go a different way. There's a couple of controls in here.
So this is a replay of the route just out from control 10 after the arena passage. See a mistake there by Denmark and Norway. So this was this mainstream street. Now they're heading up the hill again. You can see it's quite a tough area here. A lot of climbing to do on this second loop.
Yep, and these are the second leg runners. They can see Emil Svensk, they've already got their maps and ready to go. They've been obviously kept in quarantine. They don't know what has been going on at all. We can jump back in with this kind of almost like a chasing group now, I guess, behind Natalia Gempeler.
We had Norway there, one of the teams that did this small mistake.
Yeah, and there was Denmark as well,
arena.
just passing to. Oh no, here's the first Danish runner.
Yeah.
Josephine Lind there, number 5. And then they go up. So this is one of the kind of highest points of the race. And you can see actually gets quite complex here.
You could go to the east there, would be a little bit shorter, so you could cross that, I think it's a sport field or anything, and then take the steps down all the way around or up, and then come from the north to the control. I see a few of the teams going there. Now we're on this route I was describing before. I don't know if that shouting before was kind of a tactic in order to get people away when you get around the corner. I don't know if you heard that.
To make sure people are going to stop on the steps.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just getting a sense of how steep it is. It's really hard to show on camera, actually. And I was noticing some of the steps from yesterday. They didn't look very steep at all, the way some of the people were taking them, and then see it from a different angle and you go, actually, no, that is incredibly steep.
And you can see that the gap now was around 17 seconds. Yeah, 17 seconds to the Netherlands, Yves van Dongen.
That is very impressive to pull that much away.
It is, but it was already quite a lot. No, it was quite a lot compared to the Swedish team before. Yeah, it's very good to get away all alone. Here she's actually not going the quickest route, so there is a chance now for the other teams. If you back out, as I think the 4th team of Sweden is doing.
Everybody going the same
Great
way
Britain
at the moment,
going there as well.
steps.
No, Great Britain is having a good route.
Yeah. Yep.
So then you see that passage there in approximately halfway on the northern route. You have this tunnel-like system, and I think it's a garden there. So they opened the garden in order to have this possibility for that route choice. But for Switzerland, at the moment, it doesn't really matter. Most of the closest nations went on that same route. Of course, they noticed that Gempeler didn't come out from that control when they entered it, so they know that she's on this route as well.
So Czechia still up there, Sweden 2, Norway 2 there with Pia Youngvik. I think we've got France still ahead, Mel Bovier. Now you can see obviously Gempeler will already be coming out of this control. This is maybe an indication of again, how good a route choice it was going up. As you can see that Grace Malloy will punch this control ahead of that chasing group, so putting the Brit into second place. You can
very
see
good.
the punches at the control 16 coming up on the screen. They've just gone.
And the gap before was 22 seconds between Grace Malloy and Natalia Gempele. After it, I think it was 26. So she might have lost a few seconds compared to Gempele, but I think compared to the others, she won back a few.
So handing over there, Gempele to Ricardo Rankin, and the second leg is underway. And here is Grace Malloy. She's into second place here. She'll be absolutely delighted with that, as she will try and make her way on the team for the World Championships, Home World Championships. She hands over to Freddie Carter, France into third place, Norway in fourth. Now lots of teams together. We've got Ukrainian team there, a couple of Swedish teams.
And you can see the Swedish, the
Yeah,
first team
Swedish
lost
one, I think. Yep.
almost 40 seconds. That's quite a lot. I was expecting it to be around 30 seconds when I set up the plan for this race.
But the Swedish team has so many strong runners. You know, they've really got their strongest runners still to come on the first team for Sweden, of course.
Definitely, and now it's going to be very important that Emil Svensk is going to have a good race here, trying to close the gap to Ricardo Rankan and Switzerland, or at least make it a bit smaller.
So more teams then out onto this second leg, and we can follow them on these first few controls. This is the third control. You can see there the gap is 28 seconds between 1 and 2. And then, yeah, this quite big kind of, I guess, chasing group here. I mean, so it's not really a group. It's just basically the rest of the runners. Yeah. There's not really any gaps between them. It is Switzerland and then everyone else.
Yeah, exactly. But it was 27 seconds at the start. It is still 27, 28 after two controls. So the speed is good of Ricardo Rankan, but of course it's were rather easy controls in the beginning. But the important bit, as we have learned from the first leg, the route choice between 6, 7, then the one just after the arena passage, and then the route choice 15, 16 in the very end. And it is going to be a bit longer for the men now. Not the best route there for Great Britain. Not sure if Sweden is, if that's right with the GPS, or if second Swedish team.
Must be, surely, yes.
Yeah, I think they're here in the group as well.
So Rankan already punched control number 5, as we have more of the athletes kind of chasing through this park section.
The gap before, 28 seconds. You can see the gaps now here. You could also see that Emil Svensk, 31 seconds behind. It was around 40 at the changeover, so he's opening really, really hard here.
Yeah, made really kind of attacking first section.
And that's a good, Rankan has to go to the, it's better to go to the upper passage. Now he's going to, the angle isn't good. I hope he's not going over the bridge there. I think he's heading to the southeast now from there. I think he was heading to this bridge in the middle and then noticed that he can't get through there.
Yes, it seems like a lot of them were heading straight for that bridge that you can see there, and then you have to go round the house, which is what Switzerland did, and then across this bridge you can see on the right there.
But he definitely lost time here, I would say around 5 to 7 seconds.
Yeah, definitely, as all the others, well, you can see others have, again,
Sweden
going
is doing a mistake there.
Ooh.
Sweden is doing a mistake. They have to go now all the way to where Switzerland was. But I mean, the mistake by Svensk here is approximately the same as Rankan. Rankan was a bit closer to the line. He also had to do quite an extreme angle. There he is,
yeah, there he is.
So the gap before, I think, was 31 seconds between Rankan and Svensk. Here is Rankan.
And then again, another route choice here. This is the 8th control. This one has more steps, the one that he went.
Yeah.
Rankan. And obviously he's passing a lot of runners coming in the other direction out towards the 7th control.
And they are definitely closer
again.
now.
They definitely
it was
are.
27 seconds before. Interesting to see now. Where is Sweden, the first team? Where is Emil Svensk? I think he's coming here.
Here he is, yep.
It's still
With
around 30 seconds.
Yep. So most of the teams, I guess we kind of expect into there. Do we have the Czech team? Yep, they were in that group. They've already been through.
Yeah, they were
just
30 seconds
all of our
behind.
Favorites. Denmark still in there as well. And yeah, the usual suspects. With Finland in there? Yeah, Finland were in there.
Yeah, not the best passage here by Rankan. Missed that kind of passage between the bushes, the middle. But he's going to be the first one at the arena passage still.
Yep, here he is. Coming through here, and it wasn't a clean run, but he is still in the lead. And just checking the map reading here. Again, there's a little route choice that you can make left or right, straight out after this arena passage. They've got lots of time to prepare for it. So Gustafsson, Sweden 2 into second. Freddie Carcass from Great Britain in third. Foster is there, Mikkels is there. Some absolute big names on this second leg.
Svensk, you can see 24 seconds behind now. Kirmula
so
here
catching up
for
there.
Finland.
Here's Foster as well. Mikkels, you can see in that group. There's the Czech team, Jakub Glonek. For them, he was 12th yesterday.
And now there's this route choice coming again, where we know that it's good to go to the south. But I can see it looks good for Switzerland. Yes, indeed. I can see Finland, Great Britain going to the north. They're most probably going to lose. Sweden's second team seem to be on the wrong way there. Jonathan Gustafsson.
Yeah.
Really,
the Czech team
really
turned right
around.
and then went left.
That's really not good for Sweden, the second team. Jonathan Gustafsson, he has to go a long way around now.
Yeah, that's quite painful. You can see just how far all the way to the south he has to go. He's going to lose a lot of places.
I mean, it's not extreme. The other one is kind of a zigzag and not straight either, but it's definitely longer to go all the way around.
And you have the comparison then, Finland, GBR compared to Norway, Sweden. I'd say actually punches control. Quite similar still.
So now I think we have Svensk and Foster together there in this group. Great Britain, Finland's Kirmula. Here's
the leader though. So in this garden around this 12th control. In and back out again. Under this passage and then climbing up towards the kind of section with the sports pitches.
And of course, that's a good feeling for him. He knows he's still in the lead. He couldn't see anyone and he was backing out from the control again. So he knows that the gap still is at least bigger than 15 seconds. That's It's a good option here into the next control, going around the corner here, then having to climb a few steps.
And obviously, I guess, you know, his job at this point is, whether he's in the lead or whether he was like second, third, fourth, he just wants to avoid any big time losses because he knows he's got really strong people on his team.
His job here is to try to get the right route choices, of course, and if possible, keep that gap open.
Yep, so he's crossing the pitch then.
But you can also
like
say that the other team's definitely getting closer.
Yep, that was a mistake there. The top of those steps is cut off. Can't go that way, but you can go up here. No problems. And obviously these, if you take the route choice like south 15 to 16, those are the steps you have to go back on as well. It just shows you how, you know, difficult it is and how slow it's going to be going down those as well. I wonder if now he'll maybe see some of the teams passing. Not quite.
Not really. But then interesting, where is he going? 15, 16. I think he's seeing this garden, so a good route here. And now, of course, the other teams are going to see that he is going in that route as they come here.
Yep, so we obviously saw, I think it was Sweden, Norway and Great Britain, was it? On the, yep, into second, third, fourth.
Are there any teams going down the hill? I don't think so.
No, not many. No, everybody goes back the same way. No one taking that risk of going the other route, and this is the best route that they're on. We saw in the women's race it was quicker. And the tail on the GPS tracking, just 10 seconds there. So the chasers are, what, 12, 13 seconds slower. Here's Emil Svensk.
Yeah, but I mean, especially in this kind of section where he has to take, that's a mistake. He had to go to the right there and then take this bridge. Yeah. So small mistake here for Sweden and Norway and France. France is going all the way down here. They didn't understand it. Adrien Dulaine.
Yeah. You had to take the right, go over the bridge and then drop down. And this is where we see then the extra leap compared to the women.
Yeah, and you can see there's a route choice now. Actually, Rankan is not going on the quickest route. The shortest one is to go up again, the same passage as they came from with this garden.
So will anybody take that way? Are they all going to go back down to the bottom?
It's actually
so Norway goes high?
It's 25, no, it's 55 meters longer distance. If you go where Rankan is going, oh no, this option is not even on the explained as one of the options. So that's definitely not better. You could stay south of the line all the way to control 19 and then climb up there as well, as Sweden is doing.
So the vast majority of teams then taking what we think is the best route choice, then going back on themselves. And then just Switzerland, Sweden, Finland on the longer route choice.
Yeah, I think Foster has the best route here. Then Svensk, that one is quite okay as well. I think Rankan will lose here. Still be the first one to the control.
But then, I don't know, there seems to be the 10-second gap. But it's so hard to see. Of course, they're going to be going those different speeds.
Yeah, but Norway was a bit behind as well. They did a small mistake when they went to control 16 at this passage. Yeah, but didn't lose as much time as I expected.
So he drops down. That's the 18th control. He's going to meet Emma Svensk, and he's going to meet Mika Kirmala on the way. Yeah, there's Kirmala as well.
A few dogs on the way as well, as you can hear.
Oh, hang on, what?
Yeah, that was a
Norway,
control.
There's a big mistake going on in this chasing pack. They've just cut in too early.
Oh yeah, they did.
We need to see some GPS tracking.
Yeah, that's a big
now
miss.
We need to see some tracking. We missed
they
it.
Went
we
down,
need to go back.
They went down where France is. Yeah. And then of course you have to climb again. Maybe you remember how slow it was for Rankan to go up there, to the climbing. So that was a big time loss for Norway. But you can see that
Norway obviously at the back of the pack now.
You can see that Sweden is around 10 seconds behind Switzerland.
Switzerland still in the lead then, on his way towards the changeover. And Ricardo Rankan will hand over to Joey Hadorn, who we know is so good in terms of his head-to-head racing. He won the knockout sprint, less good in terms of that individual racing, but he's so good in this kind of head-to-head situation and on the climbs as well. So good to have Joey Hadorn in your team. So here are the leaders halfway through this relay then. Ricardo Rankan has maintained the lead for Switzerland, but it's not as big a gap as it was. You can see Sweden waiting there, ready for Emil Svensk. He's closed the gap. This is a big work, big shift put on here by Emil Svensk, and he's going to hand over to Martin Regborn, who's had no result worse than 4th in the last 2 weekends. Kirmala handing over as well.
Yeah, he didn't really hand over. Actually, they didn't touch there.
Thomas Heikkinen is off next, and Oksanen, I think that is 2. So Finland 1 and 2 in there. Czechia still in this mix. Denmark 2, Norway 2, Great Britain 1, France, New Zealand, another crunch in there. Oh, there's Foster trying to get up and just hand over. He's handing over to Erik Langendal Breivik. More Danish teams, a Belgian team, another Swedish team in there. That was Sweden 2. The Austrian team trying to, Matthias Petter there looking for Janis Bonek, and absolutely shouting there for his teammates.
It's not the best changeover I've seen in my years as a commentator. It's very, very
dangerous.
Narrow. Yeah, dangerous.
And it must be super, I think there must have been some rain or something, or, lots of rain recently to have churned up all that section. There's always a question of what shoes you're going to wear as well on races like this, when you've got such a mixture of terrain types. You've got the steps, you've got the cobbles, you've got the grass, the forest as well. But our leaders, here's Joey Hadorn then, still in that leading spot.
The gap was 10 seconds at the changeover. I think we're going to have a split time at control 4 or 5.
So this is the 5th control in here.
I think that's
the
Finland,
next person.
Then Sweden, Heikkila and Regborn. Seems to be a good start for Joey Hadorn and Switzerland. But interesting then, of course, at control 6, the route choice to control 7. I can see that they are losing time here. 10 seconds at the changeover. It's 23 now.
Yeah, Hadorn has started incredibly quickly.
And the other teams, they came from the south to this control, so they had to stop at the control as well, turn out again. Probably not the best option. Now let's see what Hadorn is doing here at this control. Most
So obviously with that
important.
F control, it's kind of easier to see the routes, maybe to the left, or sorry, to the right, as if you're running it. But no, he's sticking on the line. I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah, hesitating. I think now he's changing his mind. Not the best option, but not as bad as going all the way to the south. Here's Heikkilä and
Here's
Finland.
Heikkilä. Yeah, and I'd expect him to be able to put in a strong stint for Finland here. I mean, it's a very, very fast course. He's clearly got that fast speed from the knockout from the races in Switzerland last weekend. Maybe struggled with it a bit more technical yesterday, but he is incredibly fast, and this is going to be really good for him. So most going the eastern direction, which we think is a little bit slower.
Yeah, but Hadon didn't have the best option out from the control there, so I think he's going to lose anyway. The gap was 23 seconds before. I think he's going to be the first one at the control, but not as much as before.
So Norway and France too, they both headed pretty close to the straight line and then diverted right. So maybe that's a mistake from them. Great Britain went across the middle bridge and then have diverted around.
And you can see that the New Zealand, French second team and Norway, they did exactly the same as Hadon. Here he is. You can see the other teams coming behind there. The gap was 23 seconds, 10 seconds at the changeover. It's back to those 10 seconds again.
Yep. As it expands and contracts, and we've got two teams from Finland there. I mean, you mentioned them already as a very strong kind of emerging sprint nation, but it's great to see the two teams up there in the top 5. Here's Denmark, and we've lost the team from Norway.
Yeah, they did the same mistake as Hadon. Coming here, Breivik, into 12th.
Sweden 2, Switzerland 2 as well. And then this is maybe a little better route choice from Sweden compared to Switzerland again here on this way to control number 9. Of course, they do have a forking though here.
Yeah, you can see that it was around 2 seconds. He was quicker there.
Yeah, now obviously the course opens back up again. It'll be the question of whether they'll be able to see the runners ahead. You can see them all splitting up here. Some of them have a control just in the picture.
It's a bit shorter distance if you have the H control compared to the G one. A few meters, approximately 20 meters shorter.
So 10 seconds. It's still 10 seconds then between Switzerland and Sweden. 2 Finland teams and Czechia also in that kind of leading group of 5. Then a little bit of a gap back to Norway too.
But the most decisive part is waiting on the second loop.
Yeah, it could throw things completely off again, change everything. And then, of course, there is a choice out of this arena passage. There for New Zealand.
Yeah, you can see that, I can see that they are splitting up on different routes. Actually, I think there's a mistake going on. I hope we are going to see that.
Yep.
Hope you get a replay of the GPS very soon. You can see the runners there in between. What you can't see is that Sweden and Martin Rekman, he was running towards control 21, so he was on the wrong side there and not on the quickest route either.
Yeah, then he had to step back to go through the little passage just west of number 21.
But you can also see that it's a great speed.
Yeah,
didn't lose so much time.
No, I think not.
You can see that he was together with Heikkilä, so it was only a few seconds he lost here. But Heikkilä now probably closer to Hadon than compared to the changeover. Here's
So
Hadon.
here's the leader. This is control number 12. And
we have seen
through
that,
passage.
that
Yes,
before.
Yeah, you can't get through there on the left where that person in yellow is, the volunteer. And then Hadon will start the climbing section, surely where he's going to show some of his big strengths. But so far, this course has not disappointed for me at all. We've seen lots of mistakes. We've seen people winning and losing positions based on the route choice. And, you know, with so much of the course being kind of easy in some of the park, you would be forgiven for thinking it was a very easy course, but so much of the rest of it is very, very tricky, lulls them into a false sense of security. But Simona Abbasol then, she's just getting ready for her fourth leg. Of course, won't really know what's been going on in terms of the relay, but first, second and second in the results so far means she's leading the World Cup standings. So Joey Hadon then through all this section here. It's looking very good. Crossing the sports pitches. This is what we want to see.
Going up the right stairs up
yes,
here, because you shouldn't take the one to the left here. Yeah, well done.
Spot on.
But then most interesting to see from control 15 to 16, what kind of route choice he's gonna pick there.
Yep, let's see all of the other athletes. So Finland and Sweden neck and neck. Finland 2, Czechia then, and then Norway 1 is way further behind Norway 2 and 3. And they pass each other there. So Martin Regborn and Joey Hadon pass each other. We've got the two teams from Finland and the team from Czechia, as we said. So that's the top 5 teams there, just having gone through your picture with a little bit of a gap now next to a couple of Norwegian teams. Well, 3 Norwegian teams and a British team on their way up as well. So Joey Hadon goes back up to the top. We know that is good. Where does everybody else go?
Regborn is coming up again.
Regborn's coming back up. And now surely the others will do the same.
Finland.
Yep, both going up, I think. And they see each other, and obviously those athletes in quarantine, they'll be able to hear something, they'll be able to see very much, trying to get some indications of what's been going on. But we're behind the second place team, Sweden and Switzerland, always such huge rivals here in the orienteering world in the sprint relay as well.
And I hope we're going to see now this section with the garden, because there was a mistake before where Fosse missed kind of the entrance into the garden. I can see how, yeah, here it is. It's hesitating. I mean, this is very special as a runner, because you don't expect to be allowed to run into someone's private garden. So even if it's on the map, it's very tough to just go there when you're in the situation.
Yeah, everything's telling you that's out of bounds. That's someone's garden. You can't go there. And actually, you just need to trust that you can do it.
And now we can see that Hadon is behind Regborn. I think he was hesitating. Joey Hadon when going south to control 16.
Finland 2 has missed the gap and into the garden, just to let you know. Now solving the problem and managing to cross the bridge.
And those two teams now heading north to control 18, going back through this passage where they came down to control 16 already.
So that's a good route, we know, on 18. It's so narrow. And this is what you were saying actually earlier. It's so easy to pass in the park, but it's so difficult to pass in this section, right?
Yeah, especially, I mean, now it doesn't matter that much anymore, but on the first leg, when you're in a very big group and you you might be a little bit behind and try to work your way up again into the leading group, then of course those passages there you have no chance to pass.
No, Krivda there for Czechia. Following him then along the way towards control number 18. And that must be a position. Teresa Janashikova will go on the last leg for Czechia. As you can see, they are in a 4th spot alone at the moment, but they came second in Czechia, the World Cup final last year, with a very similar team apart from the first leg runner. So we knew this team had lots of potential.
Yeah, and now you can see it's going to be very interesting on the last leg, as it seems right now. We're going to have Tove Alexandersson, Simona Abersold, Ben Lahariu, and Teresa Janosikova go out within, let's say, 10-15 seconds.
Yeah, and obviously the men tend to be so close together in terms of their physical speed. It's going to be really on the
Did
often on
Hadon
the women's
punch it?
legs.
No,
Obviously,
Hadon
no,
didn't
he
punch the
didn't.
control there.
Whoa!
I thought it when I saw it here.
Oh my god!
Yeah, that was a mistake. He was reading the map already, and that can be very, very important now to get back again into this group.
And that's kind of fairly classic when you're running past one, or maybe you've got like controls all directly in a line. You're just too concentrated on.
And I mean, here
on
it's
what's
so
happening
hard.
ahead.
It's so hard to win back any second again. You can see how high the speed is down the street through the village
Yeah,
here.
this is a route, remember, we saw on the course analysis at the start, and just comparing their speeds, how
honestly,
they're going down here.
Credit to the camera operator to follow here down the steps.
So Sweden and Finland, Regborn and Heikkilä, with a gap then to Hadon and Krivda. Hadon missing that control and just missing that, having to go back. It's cost him quite a few meters there as they are about to head back in towards the finish. Here's the last control there. And at the end of leg 3, everything has changed. Look who's in the lead. It is Finland, Heikkilä, and then Regborn from Sweden, into second, handing over to Alexandersson. So Harju Alexandersson out of the course. Here's Hadon then handing over to Simona Abersold, who's leading the World Cup standings. Krivda over to Janashikova. Ouch. And 4 teams within 12 seconds. How exciting is this?
I don't know if we've ever seen such a tight sprint relay before.
No. But they're not tight because people keep making mistakes, not just because it's flat and fast. This is very exciting. So Norway 3 there, and Norway 1, handing over with Finland 2 as well. So I think that's Norway 2 there. There's France, there's Great Britain as well. See Sid Calandri and Megan Carter-Davies both out there next. Timo Suter there and Tim Robertson going to hand over for Switzerland and New Zealand. Great to see the New Zealand team up here. This is Ben Lahariu then heading out in the lead. Ben Lahariu took 6th place yesterday, but only 23rd on the more kind of fast-paced individual sprint last weekend. And you can see Alexandersson closing the gap.
Yeah, but also here it's going to be most important that you have the right route choice in this first bit between control 6 and 7. And then especially on the second loop, even though we don't have this we don't have as many route choices on the second loop as we had in the men's course because it's a bit shorter.
And so Finland actually the only one going to control number 4, like going left out of here. Everybody else going right. So different route choices at that point. Let's have a little look and see if we can see them here.
You can see it here. So first different forkings. There's no
And that,
bigger.
for me, is a mistake from Alexanderson, because she absolutely has to is on the red line and has to divert a long way to cross the bridge and to go out to her control number 1. Very interesting. This is Hayu, I think, then here. And we've got Abersold and Alexanderson chasing. So they've made good work up this slope to, I think, be really within touching distance of Finland. Yes, 5.9 seconds, 7.4.
Yeah.
Hayu, Abersold, Alexanderson.
But very interesting now. What's going to happen here is Hario well prepared. What are the others doing? Do they see that it's not possible to go straight to control 7, that they have to go all the way around?
Let's have a look. So they've got to cross this, and that looks quite decisive from Venla Hayu. Oh no, she's got to get that control there first, sorry. And now we've got to watch.
Seems to head straight down. Now hesitating a bit. You can see that
now just she
going to
goes
the
from one
left.
hand to 2 hands on the map.
You can see Alexanderson, I think, passing.
No, I think is it Alexanderson?
Seems like that, but is it the right bridge?
No, it's not the right bridge.
No. Oh, that's a big mistake. You can't go to the right there. They are doing a big mistake here, Finland and Sweden, or at least Sweden. They have to turn back out again.
Or you go along parallel to the
big
road.
Mistake. Would be interesting to switch back to the GPS in order to see how big the mistake's going to be.
Yeah, because you want to be running alongside this building here.
There is Alexanderson. We only know about the mistake of Harjo.
Yeah,
how far
she's
did
gone
Alexanderson go?
completely.
Oh, she's gone far. You can see that there is a mistake by Switzerland, but not as big as the others.
So that puts Czechia into the lead suddenly, and Teresa Janičíková into the lead. It must be.
It could be Switzerland as well.
Could be Switzerland.
It's going to be tight.
It's going to be
definitely
very
not
tight.
Sweden.
So there, Alexanderson goes to the right. You can see Venla Hayu nearly follows her, but there's a dead end there.
I think she's looking for.
Can't get through.
She's looking for the passage that Alexanderson sees on her map. So hesitating a lot.
Surely she must be seeing something. She must be seeing something.
So here we have Switzerland to the left, and then we have Czech Republic, Czechia, and Finland. And Sweden, you can see, around 10 seconds behind. But that was a big mistake by Alexanderson.
And fallen into the trap. But the thing is, for me, they had an old map of this area, and you can see that there's very few passageways onto this promenade here, right by the coast.
Yeah, but it's always sometimes they open up something somewhere, and it's like, I don't know. It's hard to believe that you can't get down there when you just look at the maps. As you say, they should be prepared for it. But if you just look at it very quickly, it's very hard to believe that it's impossible.
And then slow routes out of this control for both Abersold and Alexanderson. They both kind of did a bit of a loop before going the way that they did.
Yeah, but
let's recap this mistake then. So, mistake from Sweden, the big one there. It slows for Finland. Switzerland also not the best route into there. Much better for Czechia and for Great Britain as well, as I think we saw Megan Carter-Davies move up into 5th spot. Here's Norway with Vanja Minsen on the last leg. Norway 3 there as well. Cecilia Kalundry 2.
You could also see, judging by the tail before, you could see that the mistake must have been around 25 seconds for Sweden. And Sweden not the same route as the others here. This doesn't really matter actually where you go. If she's heading to the G control, then that's totally fine. And she is definitely heading to that one.
So this is the last section of the park area. Then for these athletes here, we can see different routes. So Czechia going to G, Switzerland, we just saw punching at H, Finland there too. And everything switches up again, changes the order.
Yeah, now, I mean, Great Britain is quite close again to this group. It's quite a far way up to the lead, but to the 4th position, it's not too far.
No, Abersold then with a 6-second lead over Van Lahaye. You can see here in the picture Janasikova from Czechia into 3rd, and Alexanderson is 9 seconds slower than in 4th place. Megan Carter-Davis, as you said, just 5 seconds off 4th. So here is 2nd and 3rd then passing through the picture on this arena passage. This is Megan Carter-Davis into 5th, and Tova Alexanderson in 4th place here. But big mistake there for the Swede, and she's outside the top 3. Benjaminsen and Oksanen into 6th and 7th, but that is 20 seconds plus behind 5th place. Cecilia Calandri also having punched that last control before this arena passage into 8th. So let's check the routes here.
Good route for Switzerland, good route for Czechia. Well, we've seen that it didn't matter so very much if you go to the north here, but Finland and Sweden on the longer route, distance-wise.
No, I think they're actually really quite similar, these two routes. Like more similar than we thought, or than I thought anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, you don't have to take as many turns if you go to the north. I think distance-wise, there is a difference. It's shorter to go to the south, but it's easy to read the map. You have a lot of time if you go to the north. But what's Finland doing?
Oh, that is an actual mistake.
I think
it
was a mistake. Yeah.
And you can imagine that's exactly the same situation that Joey Haddon was in when he just was looking ahead and just didn't spot the control and ran far too far. And that's the problem of underestimating a course like this, I think.
I mean, it's so clear that she was reading the map very carefully there. Didn't really. That's a mistake for Switzerland.
That's a mistake as well, yeah. What?
I mean, she's going to the control from the north. She's not going to lose very much time here, but she's going to lose a few seconds.
So this is Abersold then in the lead, and this is the difference then here that she's gone to this 12th control. I think if you have J, it's very clear that you go around the bottom, surely.
Yeah. And she has
J. But Britain takes that one as well. Megan Carter-Davis takes that route too.
Yeah, and Switzerland has J.
Very interesting, and there's still lots of route choices still to go, although not quite as many route choices as the women's courses, that little bit shorter.
It's not that far to go from here. It's actually only 1, 2, 3, 4 real controls, and then the last one.
No, this climb starts then for Simona Abersold. Switzerland in the lead most of the way around this course.
Honestly, it's mostly about the route between 15 and 16, if she's not doing any mistake, because otherwise the routes, they don't differ so much. I mean, you can go to the left or right here. At this point, there's a small difference, but it's not very big. Then you can go back or take the steps to control 14. There's a difference, but it's not as big as the gap is right now.
So Czechia and Finland, Van Lahaye, Teresa Janasikova together here. This is 2nd and 3rd, and then we could see there on the GPS tracking we've got Sweden and Great Britain together in 4th and 5th spots. Two different tactics here on those steep stairs, basically the same speed. And then this is the 13th control just in here. And then, two different route choices here towards 14. I think the other one's better. I think this one that Alexanderson is doing is good, as long as you execute it well.
We haven't seen many head-to-head comparisons here. This one, I mean, you have to take more steps up to the control or up to the street.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see who actually gets to this control first, this 14th one. Abersold's already there. Gap has grown.
Yeah, seems, but then again, the gap has grown, but is it big enough? if you do a mistake, a route choice mistake between 15 and 16, or if you do a mistake and get stuck in the middle on the route. So it's definitely not over yet. She's heading up again, so the route seems to be good. Now let's see if Tuve is going down or heading up as well.
No,
There
she
would
heads
be
up.
a possibility to do something different. Maybe
Carter
Megan Carter. Now
Davies
she's coming
also
up.
Now they've got to see the execution of this little garden passage properly, spotting the gap. It's really, really tricky, and this could bring all the teams back together again, I think. Because that's the real last kind of tricky bit on this course for me. But
So
see then by the tracking.
It's going to be very interesting if she's going to miss this small entrance there or not. If she is not going to miss it, then I think she's quite safe.
Yeah, let's see whether Alexanderson's able to get this or not.
It would be so interesting to have a camera person there together with Abersold. Maybe we get an indication here. There, she missed the entrance to Alexandersson. And we can hear the dog. I think that Abersold passed there. Yeah, indeed.
So yeah, there you can see on the tracking, just that impact of the mistake from Tova.
No, I don't think there's anything that can happen to Abersold anymore. Shouldn't be any challenges left.
No, she's already on this street running west to east and just got this last control still to go. Ducks in this small passageway here. And now the fight is on for the latter positions, though. Finland, you can see ahead, then Czechia, then Sweden, and this is second, third, and fourth here. They're all going to go the same way, yes.
Clearly an attack there by Czechia.
But Abersold has time to cheer in with her team then. Gempela really had a big gap here, but I want to focus on the sprint out for second, third and fourth, because I think Ben Lahayu will just be holding off Terezia Shikova. So Finland in second, their best ever performance in a sprint relay. Czechia into third, Sweden in fourth. It will be Megan Carter Davies to bring home the team from Britain into the top five. Really close there between all the teams.
Do you have any statistics on when we've seen Sweden outside the top three last time? Must have been a long time ago.
Yeah, I can't find one. Not quickly anyway. I can find it, I'm sure. If there was a way. Here's Norway. Some struggles for Norway today, but it actually very impressive run from Andrina Benjaminsen to end that team into sixth, because there was certainly some mistakes, especially from the men on that course.
What a battle it was. It was really, really hard.
Definitely. I mean, if you look back again on the course, it's really the women that made the difference for Switzerland. Natalia Gempele has just such a great performance on the first leg, and then Rankan and Hadon tried to work with the gap they had. They didn't really manage. Hadon with a small mistake just at the third last control when he kind of didn't see it together in the group with Fosse and Heikkilä. And then Abersold came back after it.
Jonas, to answer your question, I'm looking back in my results, and we're going to discount stuff from the World Games, but the last time Sweden wasn't in the top three was European Champs 2016 in Czechia, where Russia won, then Denmark, then Switzerland, I think.
Yeah, that's a few years ago.
It is a few years ago. But what a turn up for the books. We've got a fight on here between Denmark and Hungary. Rita Marmarosi on the anchor leg for them. And really quite a lot of teams together still. This is quite a lot of teams packed into 2 minutes compared to what we often see on a sprint relay. Some of the Swedish teams battling out as well.
One of the big differences we have seen during the last years, maybe 1 or 2 years, is that, for example, that nations like Finland suddenly have two really good sprinters in the men's category as well, with Mika Kirmula and Tuomas Heikkilä, and suddenly they appear as well. So it's not that easy anymore for Switzerland and Sweden to just get through with their teams and don't wait without having to face any competition on the way. I mean, early years we had Denmark back in around 2016, 18, but now it's really Finland coming up there. Czechia always have a good team as well. Their struggle always on the first leg, and then France can have a good day as well. Norway always there somewhere around. We're getting more and more teams having 4 really good sprinters in their teams, and that's good to see.
Yeah, and obviously British team in there as well. See Fiona
Yeah, of
Bunn in
course.
here towards the
Sorry
finish.
for that one.
You literally listed every single other team, and so I had to stick up for the Brits.
Yeah, the problem is they were not on my page here on the first page, so when I summarized them, they didn't show up here. But of course, you had the British team, but they have been good through years as well.
Great
And
to see the
that for me,
Italian team
actually,
finish there.
a bit of a surprise today that the British team is so high up the list because, in my opinion, Roll Street is a very important piece in that team, and if he's missing, I would not have expected them to be so far up for such a long time. So that was a good job
I
by
think
the
we just
whole
saw on the
British team.
GPS tracking there, small mistake from Czechia, just going into the covered alleyway, going down to the bottom. That really mixed up the order of things. So close in the end. Switzerland ultimately. Well, I think that 4.7 seconds is a bit of a hides the fact that Simona Abesal's jogged into the finish with the rest of her team, but certainly very, very close between the next teams. As you said, amazing to get that Finnish team, the Czech team, into the top 3, and really neck and neck for a long way. I mean, I don't know about you, Jonas. I looked at this course when we kind of saw it, and I thought this one's going to be really exciting. And for me, actually, it really didn't disappoint.
No, it was a very good course. It's important that you have really route choices that are hard to spot the different options. For example, the one I think it is 5-6 or 6-7. That's a very good route where you can do mistakes on the way. I'm sure we're going to see it soon. But also here, 3-4, you have different options. Might not be that important what you pick, but it splits up the group, shows them that you can't just run with the others. You never know about forkings either. And then this one, very good route for me. Now we're not really on it. Where you
Now we
have
just
like
missed a mistake.
yeah, it's hard to spot where the passage is on this one intuitively.
You have to look so wide off the red line.
Yeah, exactly. You have to go far away from the red line to see the best route. Then it slows down a bit. I mean, it slows down the action, not the runners. 9, 10. Then there's another route choice out from the arena again. And then also something I like as well is the kind of climbing you have to do in the end of the course, because that's another element into this competition. That runners get tired, but they have to stay focused. I'm sure that mistake by Joey Hadan would not have happened in the beginning of the course when he didn't see the control or didn't punch it. Then you have a few controls here, 13, 14. I mean, they're not very difficult, but you have to be very, very careful. You can't just let the map reading go, so you have no time to prepare 15, 16, or not much time. You have a few meters down to control 15.
Yeah, and it's no coincidence that so many times in the race, that route choice has been decided by the first person who gets there, and everybody else has followed, because you maybe see that there's an option and you kind of let the other person make the decision, unless you've got a really clear idea that, no, I want to go the other way. Yeah, and that's how it ended up.
But I share your opinion. Very good courses throughout the whole weekend.
I'm here with the Swiss team. Congratulations on your victory today, all of you. Let's start with you, Natalia. Your first race for Switzerland, won in a sprint relay, and then you just, create magic in a gap of 27 seconds. How did you experience the first leg?
I gave all my power what I have left from these 2 World Cups. So luckily, I was alone. I tried to do my a single race, and I came back with a half a minute. I would wish maybe 1 minute, but next time.
And let's move over to you, Ricardo. You had this quite huge gap. What did that mean for your race on the second leg?
Yeah, Natalia gave me the best possible start position. Like that, of course, it's thrilling with the nerves, but like this, I could also do my individual race basically. Just hold on, taking my time for route choices, and basically in the end push as much as you can to give also a good position to Joey. Yeah.
And then, Joey, you were sent out in this first position as well. We saw, I think, an ever-changing third leg where you created a gap, actually, in the beginning and then lost some time. Eventually, Finland and Sweden took over. How did you experience that race?
It's interesting. I didn't know how it went, my third leg. Yeah, in the beginning I was really focused on myself, but then in the uphill parts, like I'm not really used to it, but I was pretty empty and I felt like the guys are catching, so I was just taking my own decisions and focused on myself. But yeah, and in the end then I lost, was missing 2 times the control shortly, so I was really on the edge physically. But yeah, I think my teammates and especially the women today saved the day.
And one of the women to save the day was you, Simona. I still have a high pulse from following that last leg. How was it for you taking over Finland and Sweden on that fourth leg?
It was a really nice starting position. Going out like a bit behind, that's what I like. I like to chase people. So I just try to keep control and like plan everything. I knew that I didn't have the best route to the first long leg. So yeah, I really took my time and saw the passages that were open, so pushed really hard in the end as well.
And of course this is a World Cup race, and then in a bit over a month there's the World Championships in Scotland where there'll be a sprint relay as well. What does this mean for the World Champs in July?
Yeah, I think it means that we're really well prepared and we're extremely happy about today. We can still improve some things, but for sure we will give our best in the preparations, and we know that we have a really strong team, and then we'll see what we can do at World Champs, and of course we're fighting for a victory again.
Great, thank you all, and congratulations once again.
Thank you.
Really great to hear from the team. I think Joey Haddon put it well. He said that the 2 women on that team really put in a big kind of impact.
And I mean, quite special, if you can say, with a 40-second gap of the first leg, still can say that you're kind of disappointed that it wasn't a minute. So, yeah,
I can't
she must
believe
have had
that
a
she
good
said
day.
that. Yeah, I can't believe she said she wished it was a minute. To have a 30-second gap is like pretty much unheard of in a sprint relay like this after that first leg. That really is quite incredible, and actually it was surprising to hear Joey say, he was struggling with those uphill sections, and was a reason why he was making some of those mistakes.
I think he sounded surprised as well that it happened, but I think, his tactics or what he said was quite good. I mean, if you have to face this situation, then you have to take it carefully, try to hit your controls in the end. I mean, he did a few mistakes anyway. It was a close call today, but it went Switzerland's way.
Yeah, it really did. And just a little reminder back to that first leg and how close it was between all of those athletes. I'm kind of close, but yet ever changing. Can you remember a sprint relay that's been this exciting?
And not with so many teams. I mean, we had many tight battles between 2 teams, mostly between Switzerland and Sweden, but that we have 4 or even 5 teams in the fight for the victory, I don't think we've ever seen that, actually.
No, often we might see that as a battle for third or a battle for kind of second place, but not in terms of battling for the victory. That was the mistake that Tove Alexanderson made, and then Ben Lahayu just changing her direction as a result. And these are 4 of those 5 teams who are battling it out at the end. And of course, you mentioned in the interview there, we've got these World Championships coming up in mid-July. What are these teams going to go and do now between now and then when they go to Edinburgh?
Well, they are going to back to training again, training a lot of sprint now, maybe a bit more specifically towards the challenge that will be in Scotland then. for me, it's very interesting. It's going to be very interesting to see how a few of the teams, what kind of decisions they are going to take when it comes to the sprint relay. Because especially in the Swedish team and in the Swiss team, you would have room for a few changes. And it's going to be interesting to see. Of course, they're going to have another couple of test races as well. They have to select the team, so that's waiting for them as well. But yeah, exciting weeks waiting for us.
Yeah, it's gonna be exciting just to see the selections come out, because you see how many athletes have been here this weekend. Just making that team for the World Championships is going to be very, very tricky. But this Czech team, Barbara Matakova, Jakub Glonek, Thomas Krivda, Teresa Janashikova, for three of them, this is the second time in less than a year that they have been on the podium. They will be absolutely pumped. So too will Finland. Their best ever results, Maija Sienoja, Miikka Kiemala, Tuomas Heikkilä, and Venla Lahaju. Really impressed with Venla Lahaju on the final leg as well, but and actually a good stint from Tuomas Heikkilä in the third leg to bring the team up. They should, I think it's just kind of the culmination of a big leap that the nation has made in terms of sprinting. And obviously we're used to seeing Switzerland near the top of the podium or at the top of the podium, but it was not plain sailing at all from this team. They were not leading the whole way round, and great runs from all. But as Joey Haddon said, particularly the women, Natalia Gempler with that 30-second gap, and then Simone Abersold just where it needed to happen in the end as well.
But I mean, that was to expect. If you look at the results, you could see that, I mean, you have two different winners.
Natalia Gempler and Simone are leading the World Cup standings, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, they both won one single race in sprint, and they both came second in the other one. I mean, there's no one else in better sprint shape right now. And you can see that
there really are.
not a big success for the Czech team with the flowers here.
No, they need to work on their throwing. Good job that they can do running, but they don't need to throw very often in those teams. And I think hopefully the teams have had an enjoyable weekend as well, and a good kind of set of very kind of different types of courses that have really tested them. I know not everyone was happy with the more forest aspect of yesterday's sprint, but I thought it was really interesting technically, and that hopefully they've enjoyed themselves as well.
I mean, you have to take the challenges you have to face. I mean, if there's forest, then there's forest. I don't really understand that complaining. It's just, I mean, sometimes it's a bit forest in a sprint. Well, get used to it.
Yeah, and there used to be a lot more, I think, when sprint was a newer discipline as well. But it's great to see all the teams kind of, you know, like congratulating each other, and obviously they're on the World Cup circuit. They all know each other really a lot as well, and they can, you know, step out of the competition and celebrate each other's success as well. But anyway, that is everything then from the World Cup. These are the preliminary team standings then, with Switzerland in the lead, followed by Finland, just a reflection of their great performance so far. Sweden in third, and then some of the other big teams: Norway, Czechia, Great Britain, France, Denmark, as we would expect to see. Obviously, the teams accruing points throughout the World Cup competition. Still races in Hungary and in Finland still to come. And here in the sunshine, they can debrief and figure out exactly what they did. You can see they're already, you know, trying to... I was just trying to listen in. I say not that my Swiss German's any good.
I think they're discussing the route to Control 6 or 6-7.
The route choice, we had to go a long way off. But the next time, obviously, many of these athletes will be together will be in Edinburgh for those World Championships, 12th to the 16th of July. Get that date in your diaries. It's going to be some fast and furious racing around the streets of Edinburgh. They've got a lot of work to do in the meantime, sharpening up on some of those. Some people would have a big boost of confidence from these last 2 weekends. Some people say got a bit more work to do, but we will be back then in July from Edinburgh with those Sprint World Championships.
Yeah, see you then.